Hello, friend. Henry Flowers here once again, coming to you, Powerful Living Outreach Ministry. Listen, if you want to be a contributor to this show, send us comments, questions, show topics. You do like one of my other listeners did, who suggested this topic. He said, "Henry, can you do a show just on how to be more loving?" And I'm coming at you strong today because this is going to be part two, because I got so much to share with you about what love is, and as it is referenced to this court document. Man, there's some good potential in this court document I'm going to share with you. I've been telling you, listeners, about share just a little bit about what I've been going through with divorce, and I want to share a little bit more of that today. So if you have some topics or questions and things that you want to comment about on this show, and if the information that I've been delivering is helpful to you, feel free to let us know. Powerful Living 2022 at gmail.com. I think that's right. The area code here in Cincinnati. If you want to drop us a line, leave us a voicemail, send us a text, or whatever you want to do, 513-404-7793. You can reach us there as well. Go to the website. What's the website? powerfulliving2022.org. I think that's it for the website. All of our content, wherever you find, you can go to YouTube. You can find us at Powerful Living with Henry Flowers on YouTube. Wherever you find podcasts, if you want just the audio, wherever you find podcasts, look up Powerful Living, Henry Flowers. You'll find it there. I'm coming in because, listen, I think that powerful living is inseparable from powerful loving. The two are like Siamese twins, man. You just can't separate them. And so last time we spoke, I got a lot of good feedback about that last topic, and I want to just give you some how-tos, because there comes a point in time where believers, people who say they believe in Jesus Christ, man, we ought to be different. And we ought to be different people because we are people who love people in return. That's just the way it should be. I was looking online and saw some videos about how Christianity can be so under fire. Man, people are afraid to say things about the religion of Islam. You don't hear people mocking the God of Islam or any other religions, other than people will mock Jesus and they will mock God. And the guy said, "I wonder why this is so." Well, I think one reason it's so is because, many times as Christians, we just don't live up to the standard that we hold up. We have this verbiage that we use that makes people believe that we are sinless and held to a standard of perfection, and we actually think we meet that standard a lot of times. And we're not vulnerable and want to share that we actually do jack up and mess up and got all kinds of sin in our lives. We've just been forgiven. People don't see that as much as they see arrogance and condemnation and judgment coming from believers. That's just my opinion. It may be wrong. But so that's one reason why I think people are very easy to mock Christianity. But I think the other thing is listen, I think the major reason why people are able to mock Christianity is because there are no consequences. No consequences. See, our response to being mocked is to forgive. Our response to being hated and ridiculed and even harmed, our response is supposed to be to forgive. Man, you see some different responses, man, when you come against certain other belief systems, when you come against certain other people groups. There are different responses, as Mr. Kanye West is discovering nowadays. Man, you can say anything you want to about Christianity and the Christian faith, and we are supposed to respond in love. But I'm just saying, there's some other people groups out there who they have a different response. And so that's something that it should be true. And yes, I'm referring to Christianity as a people group. Being called the people of God, that's a nation, that's a kingdom living. We've been translated out of this world into the world of his dear son. That's what the scriptures say. We should be different. We should be a people group, the people of God. But in many times we leave church on Sunday after having a powerful service and listening to a powerful sermon, and we leave and go right on back to an ordinary life. Nothing's changed. There's no power showing up in your life. So these video series that I want to do, I want to call those things to the carpet and help you to understand that there should be a difference. The people of God are a people group, and there should be a difference in our lives, and we should be leading with love in every area of our lives. Last week, the scripture was, Jesus clearly said there's no greater love than that a man would lay down his life for a friend. Now, listen, that's not actually talking about dying. It's talking about surrendering the things that you want to have, surrendering self, really, and being a loving person and laying down anything that gets in the way of love. You lay it down. You lay it down, brother. You lay it down, sister. And I'm especially talking about today in regards to relationships, because sometimes, man, we got to get things right at home before we can even attempt to be an effective person out there. Yeah, and the way we respond to our spouse, to family, to people at work, a lot of that comes from the thing that we believe about ourselves. And so I want to jump right in. This is, I've been going through a divorce, and it's been prolonged for different reasons. And, it was just a bad choice that I made when getting married. And I just made it for wrong reasons. I hadn't done the work on myself, and I chose the wrong person for the wrong reasons. And so a very short time later, it was just a little bit more than 3 years later, she filed for divorce, and for good reason. It just was not going to work. There were too many unloving things happening in the relationship, and so for me, what I have been doing, and what I'm still doing, and what I'm going to do is doing the work on myself and say, hey, Henry, what was your part? I really want to be able to look in the mirror and say, dude, how were you unloving? And there were just too many times in that relationship where no matter how justified it might have been, there were too many times where I was just unloving, yelling, angry, fearful, resentful, thinking the worst about a situation or about somebody that I say I love. And it just got to the point where it led to divorce. I'll share some more things that happened in my life, because I believe that sharing transparently can really help you as a listener. Because a lot of times we believe the lie when the enemy is sitting on our shoulders, and you do have an enemy. He's sitting on your shoulder and whispering in your ear a lot of times. The Bible declares that he is the accuser of the brethren. And it says that he's come to do three things: kill, steal, and destroy. That's what he wants for you: to kill you, steal from you, and destroy your life. Your opportunity at living the powerful life that Jesus says when he says, I came that you have a rich and fulfilling life. So that's what Jesus wants for us. And so the enemy is constantly on your shoulder telling you to be fearful about your partner, telling you to be fearful about that family member, about your co-worker or your boss, and the things that you have that you believe about yourself. Just fear is running things. And so when we talk about loving, how to be more loving, Christians ought to be leading with love, because love casts out all fear. That's what the scriptures say. And so the opposite of love is not hate. Hate and hateful acts and hateful words spring forth out of fear. The Bible says that God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. See, and it's not fear, it's love that is the opposite of fear. It's not hate that is the opposite of love, it's fear. And so many times I look back on this relationship that is getting ready to be over soon. Hopefully these things will be wrapped up, and I'll be able to get those things behind me and just really be able to examine my life and look forward. I just saw a lot of fear, just a lot of unloving things said and done, a lot of ways that I could have been better and I missed out. And, this court document is just highlighting some of the ways where love gets turned inside out, and there's fear, and it shows up in some just really poor ways. But this highlights some of the things that I want to talk about, what might be going on in your relationship. Because the bottom line is, you enter that relationship because you wanted it to work. I wanted it to work. I did. I wanted the relationship to work. I went in, proposed, did all this romantic stuff, and had all these high hopes because I thought the relationship would work. I wanted it to. And somehow, during the middle of these things, when all these things happen, sometimes we just lose track, y'all. We just lose track of what it means to be loving. 1 Corinthians chapter 13 delineates some of the characteristics of love. It says, love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful. Verse 4. Or rude. It does not demand its own way. It is not irritable, and it keeps no record of wrongs done. It does not rejoice about injustice, but rejoice whenever the truth wins out, whenever the truth is brought to light, whenever the truth is upheld. Love rejoices in that. And I want to stick on this for a moment, and especially in relationship to this court document here. This is a letter from one of the attorneys, from the plaintiff who's soon to be my ex-wife. I read through this letter, and it really just highlighted some of the things that I've been learning in this divorce. Attorneys are getting involved and have been involved and are just shaking things up. And, I'm just convinced that many times too many attorneys are just in the business of strife. Just stirring up strife any way they can. And it just doesn't even seem like they are interested in the truth. But more, they tend to be interested in what I can find and uncover to expose about the opposition and cause them to look bad and cause them to look dishonest. Forget what's actually true, but if there's a fact that I can use to turn and make that person look bad or guilty or dishonest, they jump on it like a shark on a wounded animal. They jump on it. Here is a letter written out from the plaintiff's attorney. I want to read this very shortly. I highlighted a couple of things that I thought was interesting. I'll just read it through, and then I'll come back and you'll understand once I come back through. So here it is. This is an analysis written about me. When it says the debtor, that's talking about me in relationship to a house being sold, a court order that she gets her part of the equity and this kind of stuff. And it's just a lot of stuff that I don't go into details, but I just want to highlight and show you something, and you'll see where I'm going. So listen to this. The debtor disclosed 2 bank accounts on Schedule B and testified that these were his only bank accounts when he had at least 3 others. Now, I'm the debtor. This is saying the debtor was dishonest. He disclosed only 2 bank accounts when he had at least 3 others. So this process is, this attorney is trying to find money. Give us all your accounts, prove this, prove that, and show us, because somehow they believe that I have money. Forget that I lost my job at a church. I lost half my income as a result of this divorce and this relationship. Forget that. Forget that I'm actually a minister. Okay. And last time I checked, despite what some of you people may believe, and some of your friends may believe, about, you got these things around pulpit pimps and all this kind of stuff. And, listen, despite of what you believe about that, nobody goes into ministry to accrue wealth. Not the ministry that I'm familiar with. Yeah, the ministry that I'm familiar with, most preachers make less than 50 grand, and it's pretty modest living. But these people here are looking for money. So they wanted me to disclose all my bank accounts. And what he's saying is, hey, this guy said he only had two. Well, he actually has at least three. That's one point. There's another point right below here. Listen to this one. This is really good. Debtor testified that he did not own a Venmo account, but he does have such an account and used it less than a week prior to the meeting. Now that first point is connected to the second one, and I'll come back. So here's this guy, he's pointing out facts and saying, hey, this is a fact. He said he didn't have this Venmo account, but yet he used Venmo a week prior. Account, remember that word, Venmo account. Debtor testified that his only business activity was working as an Uber driver. Despite the court findings that he had handyman income, ministerial income, and unemployment benefits that he failed to report on his tax returns. Ooh. So now, not only am I a liar and dishonest, but I'm also evading taxes and hiding money in accounts that I didn't disclose. Yeah, and then debtor testified at the meeting that the business loan proceeds from a small business loan from 2000 to 2022. That's 22 years. That's obviously a misprint. Okay, from 2000 to 2022 on his Uber driving business, he failed to produce an accounting showing what people or entities he paid, the amounts paid, and when he paid them. So what they're saying is this business loan that I got, a small business loan, he's suggesting that I have money from that loan sitting around and I just don't want to pay her. And somehow I've hidden the money. So that's because I didn't give an accounting of where I spent the money on the business loan. So those are the facts that he's using. So now I'm also hiding income that I got from a business loan. Last time I checked, a loan is an income because you pay interest on it. So pay it back. That equals not income. Okay, but I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna come back to this. This is important. I really want you to hear this last part. Oh, debtor also transferred an undisclosed parcel of real property. Yes, in South Carolina for significant amount in June of 21, which contradicted his previous testimony in which he denied making any transfers of real property in the previous 4 years. So what they're saying is, I sold a house in July. And this was after my soon-to-be ex-wife left, because my soon-to-be ex-wife left in February, I believe it was, of 2021. And so now they're saying this dude's hiding money, and we found out that he sold a house, and he didn't tell anybody. So all of these facts, if you just read through these facts, you will likely stop listening to this podcast and consider me a liar and being dishonest. Like, these are court documents. Like, this stuff is on public record. You can go and read this stuff for yourself. Like, this is stuff that was filed under oath. And so for me, I'm taking a look at these things and I'm saying, wow, that's some interesting information. We do this a lot in relationships. When we are supposed to be the most loving person in the relationship, because really all we can account for is ourselves. If we believe in Jesus Christ and we've made him Lord of our lives, then we should be leading with love. And in any particular relationship, if we are loving, according to the scriptures, the Bible says love rejoices when the truth is exposed. When the truth comes out, love rejoices in the truth. Did you know that there is a difference between facts and truth? You really need to hear that. As it relates to your spouse, sometimes we just look at the surface and we look at what happened and we believe the worst. Why do we do that? Why do we do that? We just look at things on face value and we make a determination about what was said in the moment. I heard you mumble something and you got to think the absolute worst about that mumbling. And you wonder why you got so much arguing going on in your relationship. Don't lead with love, and just love would say, hey, let me ask you a question. What did you mean by that? That's one of the how-tos. So instead of getting angry at the first thing that you perceive just happened, no, forget that. How about ask a question about what happened? Hey, this evidence is what I found, or this happened. What did you mean? Hey, listen, you did this. I saw you over here that day and you were with this person and it looked a little suspicious. What was going on with that? See, that's what a loving person would do. They would give the person that you say you love the benefit of any doubt and say, hey, can you explain this to me? As opposed to being an accuser. You did this, so therefore you're hiding. You didn't say that, so that means blah, blah, blah. See, jumping to conclusions about any kind of different matter tells me that it's possible that you're not looking to give somebody the benefit of the doubt. You're actually looking to find ways to convince yourself that that person is evil or had evil intentions. And here's the flip. The flip is you wouldn't want someone to think that about you. You wouldn't want someone to jump to a rash conclusion when it came to you. If you were on your job and somebody saw your hand in the register, you wouldn't want them to immediately think that you were stealing and run to somebody and accuse you of stealing. Now, how about it could have been that you just counting down your drawer? Something that simple? Does that sound trivial? Man, you know how many times we believe the worst about something based on facts that we see? What is that about? That's about fear. That's about a failed commitment to be loving. And about thinking the worst about somebody as opposed to hoping for the best and hoping that the truth will come out. And instead, we could just say, hey, listen, what were you doing in that situation? It looked like you were out and looked like you were about to lean in for a kiss. And, this person took a picture of you. Oh, really? So you're saying you were about to say something discreetly, and that's why you were leaning in closer to this person. And this person who took the picture just happened to take the picture at the wrong time, and it looked like I was leaning in for a kiss. Yeah, why did you believe that so easily? Why did you believe that I was leaning in for a kiss with this person that I was at lunch with? Is it because your last spouse was unfaithful? This is two people having a conversation and they want to discover the truth. And so they're asking questions instead of both of them throwing barbs and accusations and causing more fear and more strife to build and thereby disintegrating the relationship. These are some of the things that we really got to take a look at, because how you show up with your spouse, man, listen, this shows up all over the place. That's who you are. And it's going to show up on your job. It's going to show up in your other relationship with your friends. And it really springs forth out of what you think about yourself. So if we want to be more loving, there are things that we have to be willing to do and just lay down the fear and stop being so easy to jump to conclusions and jump on something like blood in the water. Shark is a smell it a mile away, jumping on it. Yeah, I saw you out with her. Yeah, I saw you out with him. Who do you want to be? See, it's ordinary and normal to let fear run your life. It's ordinary. But God never calls us to the ordinary. God always calls us to the extraordinary. Extraordinary. We are natural. He's supernatural. We are ordinary. He is extraordinary, to say the least. And if the Spirit of God is on the inside of us and it's transforming our lives, then we should be able to go from mediocre to magnificent, from ordinary to extraordinary. I think at some point we should be able to go from average to amazing. These are some of the practices that we have to put in place. How to be more loving. First of all, ask questions. Don't jump to conclusions so quickly. If you want what you say you want a powerful relationship, but you're constantly being willing to do things, being led by the enemy, going down a path that would lead to unloving situations. You're constantly doing it. One little drop of in the water, and you jump on it and see the worst. Not necessarily looking for the truth and being able to rejoice once the truth finally comes out, but why is it that you jump to conclusions so quickly? If we jump to conclusions, man, you'd stop listening to this podcast. Minister Flowers, oh, he's a liar and he hides bank account and he don't want to do this and he lied. He sold a house for $170,000 and lied about it under oath. Let me go to that one first, and let me show you what a difference facts can make. Here we go. The debtor also transferred an undisclosed property of real estate in South Carolina for $175 in July of 21, which contradicted his previous testimony in which he denied making any transfers of real property in the previous 4 years. So let me tell you what happened. Let me tell you the rest of the story, like the late, great Paul Harvey used to say. Here's the rest of the story. So this house in South Carolina, I didn't even know this was still in my name. And it popped up right in the middle of these divorce proceedings. And there was somebody in South Carolina who I knew was a friend. And I said, hey, or he was a real estate agent who was a friend. And I said, hey, would you go buy this property, man? I didn't even know. I thought this thing was in a previous bankruptcy back in when this divorce was discharged in 2017. I thought this house was going in there. And all of a sudden, the Department of Agriculture, who owned the mortgage, write me letters and saying, hey, what are you going to do with this property? And the reason I hadn't heard about it in so long because of the pandemic. The pandemic stopped everything. The court systems were like backlogged and stuff. So they didn't even contact me for all of those years. And now all of a sudden, when I was actually going through a divorce and trying to just some of the worst times in my life where a church that I co-founded had to fire me. And I just wanted this situation from the house in South Carolina to be gone. So I told the guy, listen, can you do a short sale or something? Just put it up for market and just sell. I don't want to make no money. Just get rid of it. And that happened. That sale was complete in July. He found an investor and they were like, hey, we'll give you this amount and go find out what I owe on it. Well, guess what? Yeah, out of the $170,000, guess what I sold the house for? Yeah, $170,000. So this attorney found out about it. He did some kind of search or whatever. It was in the public records again. And I didn't disclose it to my attorney. It's because it was out of my mind. I didn't remember. Wow. Can you imagine that? Somebody not remembering something? But he tried to make this look like Henry's got money, $175,000. He said, whoa, I wonder how much profit he made from that. And he doesn't want to pay his ex-wife what he owes her. Yeah, that's real easy to look at that. So guess what? I also got a letter recently from the Department of Agriculture who held that mortgage. And yes, they agreed that the house was sold. But you know what the letter says recently that I got in August? It said, hey, Henry, you sold the house. We appreciate you doing that work. But, some things fell through the crack and you owe us $1,900. I have that letter. I submitted it to him. But somehow he didn't include that portion of fact in this court document. Wonder why that is. Maybe just some attorneys are looking to find something to paint the other party in an evil light, like we do too many times in our relationships. A father has a teenager who's made some bad decisions in the past and got a couple of circumstances that happen, and you just jump all over him. You think the worst of them immediately. They want to come and talk to you and share with you out of their heart, and you angry with them because of something that happened in the past. That's not a loving relationship. You're going to get nowhere with that one, boss. Let me stay on track. Yeah, so I had this letter saying, yeah, not only did I not make a whole bunch of cash, because remember, I told you this attorney, their job is to look for money, to find out how much money I'm hiding and force the courts to force me to pay. Yeah, so not only did I not make any money on this $170,000 sale, which was really a short sale, right? And so, but I have a letter proving that I still owe $1,900. Yeah, he didn't include that part on this. Yeah, that part. Oh, let me get to this one next. I really like this one. So this one here that says, debtor testified that his only business activity was working with Uber drivers. His course findings, he had handyman income, ministerial income, and unemployment benefits that he failed to report on his taxes. Okay, so ministerial income. Oh, you mean the salary that I got from the church that had to fire me? Well, yeah, that actually is reported on my tax returns. He got a copy of those. You mean the handyman income? Oh, handyman income? You mean in the few months after that I got fired from my job and lost half my income when I was going out there and paying for leads, a leads group where you pay for a lead. Let's say you pay $30 for a lead. Somebody might want they snow shovel or their gutters clean. You pay $30 for that lead and you got to contact them and you call them. Oh, yeah. So you mean the income that I actually paid more for in the 3 months that I was there because I was scraping trying to get through because I had just lost my job in February. Now I got to find how to replace half the income. And so now I got to get out and go try to find something, figure something out. So I go shovel some snow or clean some gutters, take my ladders out, whatever I got to do. And you paying $30 for each lead. And then the people don't contact you, or you finally get a hold of them on the phone and they say, oh, well, I just wanted a quote. I didn't actually want the work done. And this income that they call handyman income is places where I paid $300 for leads and I made $180 that month. Is that income? I ain't been great at math, but you do the math on that one. Yeah. Ministerial income, unemployment benefits. Ooh, unemployment benefits. Now, this is a real kicker because many of us who pay taxes, man, we real stickler about people taking advantage of things like that. Taxpayer dollars, man, you don't want people to be taking advantage of that because you're doing things and you want people to help. We want people to get help, unemployment and welfare and all that kind of stuff. You know, people need these things. And so you kind of look down on somebody who's taking advantage of those things. And that's how they tried to portray me on the unemployment benefits. Yeah, you're right. I did not report my unemployment that I received during the pandemic when everybody was ordered to stay in the house. And yeah, I didn't report that income. So what he didn't disclose was that on the unemployment website, it says, if you allow us to tax your unemployment at 10%, then you don't have to report it as income. And guess what I did? Yeah, I got my taxes taken out early, the 10%. I checked that box and I let him know about that on the phone, on a live phone interview with the trustee and my attorney and his attorney. I said this to him. I told it. I proved it. It's on my records. Unemployment, you see the box check? Yes, take my taxes out. So when you check the box, you don't have to pay taxes because the taxes are taken out up front and you don't have to report it on your tax returns. You see how the truth comes out and truth is different from fact? Yeah, I didn't report it on my tax return because I didn't have to. Wow, this next one here. Debtor testified that he did not own a Venmo account, but he does have such an account and used it less than a week prior. Oh, Venmo and the Cash App. It was Venmo, Cash App, and I think it was PayPal or one of those other ones. See, this is interesting. Yeah, the Venmo account that my daughter is asking for stuff for the baby, and she says, "Hey, Dad, can you buy this?" And I send her money through Venmo for that. Oh, that account. See, this is interesting because you call it an account, because I told you to remember to pay attention to that word account. These are people who are looking for bank accounts from me to where I might be hiding money. And I gave them the information that I had about Venmo. And my testimony was, I didn't see Venmo as a bank account. I didn't see it as a bank account. They were asking me about bank accounts, and he included Venmo and Cash App. And I says, those aren't accounts. I don't have accounts. I don't have money stored on these platforms, which is what I was trying to convey. And I even sent him the pictures of the Venmo or the Cash App and stuff, and it had zero balance. I didn't use these as accounts. If my daughter asked me for something, she'd send me a Cash App or something, and yeah, I'll pay that. Go ahead, get something for the grandbaby. Those were the accounts that I used that for. There was no money stored on those. But you see, he didn't mention that part. He just mentioned he failed to disclose accounts. Oh, and this last one is really good. Debtor disclosed 2 bank accounts on the Schedule B and testified that these were his only bank accounts when he had at least 3 others. It's interesting. There's a really interesting part right here. The man hiding bank accounts now. Henry has money. He don't want to pay his ex-wife what he was ordered to pay. He has money. He only said he had 2 accounts, but we found at least 3 others. Oh, really? Oh, the other bank accounts of where in my testimony on the phone call when I testified under oath, those same other 3 accounts that you found that were actually accounts of my adult children. And the only reason my name was on those accounts is because when they were in college, I was the adult that was connected to their accounts, so I could just monitor what was going on. That's why those accounts were in my name. I did not have access to their accounts. I couldn't have stored money on their accounts. And not only did he not mention that, which I told him that on the phone. Funny, he just leave out information. Why? Because he wants to make me look bad and wants to make me look dishonest. But not only did I tell him that on the phone, I sent him regretfully, because my children are grown, except my youngest son is 21. All the children are adults. I didn't want to be submitting information about an adult person's bank account, but I did have to submit the last one of the last 30 days, and they saw that there was no balances on there that had any significant amount of money, even if I could have transferred some money to there. There was nothing significant on there, and they saw those accounts. So why didn't he put that in here while he's listing off facts about why I should be found in contempt? So these are the things that we take a look at and we say, hey, there's a difference between facts and truth, which the Bible says, if you love somebody, you should be rejoicing in the truth showing up. That's what lovers of God do. People who love God and people who want to have a powerful life operate with power. And you give people the benefit of the doubt. And you don't jump on every little small scenario to bring fear and stress and strife into a relationship, because that's not who you are. The people of God should lead with love. And what does love do? Love gets excited about the truth being uncovered. Love gets excited about seeing the best in people. Because how you see others is really how you see yourself. I really believe that. If you believe and have a really good grasp on the love that God has for you, and you love yourself, man, you'll do the same for others. I just believe it. And the reason that I want to be a better person in my next relationship is because God loves me. And I need to be more loving. I need to be more of a listener. I need to be more of a person who's not talking all the time and trying to be heard Instead, find out what she's trying to tell me. How about that? Instead of yelling all the doggone time. Instead of taking a simple fact or something that she said or a way she responded and making that mean the worst possible meaning. Yeah. So, how to be more loving? How do you do it? Ask questions about what just happened instead of making accusations about what just happened. Just something. And this lawyer doesn't even know me. Wrote all of this stuff about me. He's just doing his job. Are you just doing your job in that relationship? What is your job? Is your job to love people, or is your job to take facts and jump to the worst possible conclusion and to allow fear to lead the way? Well, it depends on what you want. If you want an ordinary life, keep on doing the way you've been doing in the past, leading with fear and accusations and stress and strife, jumping to conclusions and just making your own conclusions, believing the worst about somebody. But if you want to have a powerful life, then powerful living is powerful loving, and the two cannot be separated. And you begin to ask questions. Hey, what did you mean by that gesture? What did you mean when your face did that? So you're kind of tight and your jaw is clenched a little bit and you got some wind in your jaw. Help me to understand. Tell me what you're feeling right now. You know, this is about how to demonstrate or communicate your emotions rather than act on them and demonstrate them, right? It's communicate your emotions. Hey, I'm feeling really angry right now. I'm feeling attacked. Your tone of voice is really bugging me right now, and I just don't want to be unloving. I don't want to respond in anger. Can I just take a minute? That's how a loving person responds in a stressful situation in a relationship. As opposed to just blowing off the handle like I used to do, like a stupid fool. Just because she getting angry, just because she getting loud, now I got to get loud too. Now I got to go throw stuff. Now I got to punch hole in the wall. Yeah, it's not loving. And so listen, I know I've been sharing a lot about relationship advice, and it feels like, this may be kind of counseling and relationship. Listen, but how you show up in your relationships is how you show up in your job. How you show up in your relationship is how you show up at work and in your friends' lives. And all of these things spring forth really from a way you feel about yourself. How you show up in all of those areas is how you show up in the mirror. Many times we are unloving toward people because we don't love ourselves. And that, my friends, is a sad commentary. But the good news is you can change it. You can change it today if you be willing to do this next how-to that I talked about today. Don't jump to conclusions. Ask questions about what just happened, because it might just be something a little different than what it seemed. Henry Flowers here, Powerful Living Outreach Ministries. I ain't going nowhere. I'm coming back.